Hey fellas, Commissioner's back in the house. Just got back in the country here yesterday, and didn't realize we were getting this late up in the season. So want to make sure we have an update going into the final game to next week, because obviously this is week 12 and 12 out of 13. Uh, First thing I want to make sure we're aware of is that I don't know what's going on with these standings, but we know we're going by best record. So, like, bet your money at 7-4 is in first place over the Warriors at 8-3 in the NFC division, and then you have the real deal in first place over three teams with the 7-4 record, and they're at 6-5. So, uh, I'm going to send an email out to the help desk to find out what that's all about. But we know, it's one loss record for those top three spots in each division that's guaranteed a playoff spot, and then the next two wild card spots after that based on points, regardless of division. So I kind of looked at this before I started the video, and up in the NFC, looks like Bet Your Money held on. He was trying to give it back and come back to the pack, but I think he hung on just enough because he's got a game lead over me and the Gangsters at 7-4. We're 5-6, so he would have to lose this game this week and next week, and me and our Gangster would have to win our two games just to tie. Same thing with Illmatic. And then it goes to the head-to-head. And don't forget, on head-to-head tiebreakers for division record, or playoff spot, rather, it goes based on if you beat that team. So if you end up in a tie for third place with that team, whoever won the game between you during the season gets the tiebreaker. So right now, though, it looks like Bet Your Money, Warriors, Illmatic is in pretty good shape. Illmatic and Warriors are guaranteed a spot. I can safely say that, as I've been saying, based on their points. So even if somehow Illmatic lost their two games and me, our Gangsters, was able to catch them and we had beaten them and took that third spot, they'll get in on the wild card spot based on points, because they have a large lead on points right now, both of those two teams. Bet Your Money would still maybe have a shot at the wild card. Bet Your Money is actually about number 5 or 6, maybe 6 in scoring. So Bet Your Money would even have a shot at the wild card as well. But those two teams would be pretty much a lock either way. Gangsters, boys, No Limit. We're all, for the most part, competing for the wild card spot. I'm leading it at 729, and Gangsters at 706. No Limit at 689. So No Limit has a kind of a tough road to hoe. He needs a big game this week or next week to kind of make up those points. On me alone, plus in the other division, I get into that, but there's some teams that have scored some significant points that's going to be in the wild card race as well. So that's where we are in the NFC. And the AFC is much, much tighter. You got Clyde, Crusher, Just for Fun at 7-4, basically tied for first place. And then you have Killer Bees and Real Deal at 6-5 in fourth and fifth place. So one game separating those teams, so a lot can change over these next couple of weeks. And again, depending on the tiebreaker, will determine the outcome of those standings. Right now, I can probably pretty safely say that Killer Bees and Crusher are pretty well locked in based on whether they finish in the top three and or have a wild card spot. So those are 5 spots that I was saying are pretty well locked up. And then there's 3 spots that are remaining that's open for these teams. Real Deal with 710 points. Just for Fun with 702 points. Really need to finish in the top 3 spots in order to really lock in a playoff spot, because they're going to be fighting a little bit of an uphill battle for the wild card spots. Killer Bees, I already said Killer Bees and Crusher in pretty good shape. And then Clyde with 739 points, they're in pretty good shape point-wise as well to be in the running for a wild card spot. So they have options there. Bomb Squad, Eagles, and Don Mega, they're pretty much done for the season based on they're not competing on record and they're not competing on points. So we can pretty much scratch them off the list. So there's still a lot that can happen here over the next 2 weeks. All about scoring points right now, and for those teams competing for those top 3 spots, trying to pull out as many wins as you can this week and next week to lock it in. So it should be interesting going down the stretch. I'll hit it up again before next week, once this week's games are completed, and see exactly where we are, see if something has cleared up after this week, and maybe some teams have been pushed totally down into the wild card running, and some teams may have locked up, based on one loss record, depending on what happens today. So we'll see how it plays out. So anyway, that's where we are. Trade deadline ended last Sunday. So no more trading for the rest of the season. And of course, ad drops are still good. So anyway, that's where we are. And it's been a strange season, and you had to grind it out. But Warriors and Illmatic right now still looking like the two favorites going into the playoffs just based on points. The Warriors have been really strong and consistent all season, so they're going to be the prohibitive favorite going into the playoffs. But we all know how that plays out. That never tells you anything. So anyway, that's it. And I'll follow up with everybody sometime before next Sunday, and we'll see how this plays out. So good luck, and I'll holler back. Peace.